Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Nordic Championship here at the Monster Energy DreamHack Studios. Game number 2 was just incredible to watch. It was such a back and forth, and I expect just the same here coming into game number 3. This is Nordavind taking on Vipers. Now, Nordavind are obviously playing for a spot in playoffs. Vipers are still fighting for a chance to remain in first. If they win this game, they lock in first as our number 1 team here in the Nordic Championships. Team Singularity are unable to catch up with them at that point. But holy hell, I'm still kind of like just hard vibing off that last game, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it was super hyped. Hybrid putting up a good effort. Obviously, their draft was a little bit wacky. This game didn't have huge implications for them, but they still played a pretty convincing game. And Hillerod managing to come out with a bit of consistency towards the end, particularly Flip on the Skarner was instrumental. But ultimately, that means Hillerod in a good spot for playoffs. So the current situation we have is Hillerod at 8, and we have Dusty and Nordavind at 7. So they have their games up next. It's Nordavind now against Vipers, then Dusty against Singularity. If they want to catch up with Hillerod, they need to win these matches, and that can potentially allow a 3-way tie for third, in which they'll get seeded into a tiebreaker bracket, and the top 2 teams will go through to playoffs. Otherwise, we are definitely going to have a tiebreaker, because it's either 2 teams tied at 8 points, or 2 teams tied at 7, or all 3 teams tied at 8 points now. So guaranteed to have a tiebreaker. But if you lose this game, for the case of Nordavind, and Dusty win the next one, you are just out of playoffs. And Nordavind, they had a rough start to the split by all means, but they've been on a resurgence, and this is the final hurdle. If they fall here, they will miss out potentially on playoffs, and it puts them in a really precarious position. They want to keep it in their hands. They want to make sure they get to playoffs, and then everything is wiped clean, essentially. It's how you do in those series.
And let's take a deep dive into the teams here. I'm going to look primarily at Vipers right now, as we've seen them kind of rise from being kind of a solid second place team to first, and they're looking to hold it. Now, Nordavind are on an upward trend right now, and I would argue Demvoxny has been probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest AD carry in the league so far. And my problem with Vipers right now is the weak point in the jungle. Hidden in the last 2 games we've seen him in, the last 3 games we've seen him in now, hasn't really been able to hit quite that mark we want from him. And it's really fallen on to the likes of Demvoxny and Poulsen to kind of take over these games. And last game, Poulsen also was kind of down there with Hidden, not really doing too much and kind of putting big training weights on Demvoxny, and he just wasn't able to kind of pull the win out.
And the problem we have here is against Nordavind, you're not going to get that opportunity. Niter, when he is on the right champions, has been just putting up a storm. Chrisberg has been really on form recently. Him and Advian have been a driving force, and Aesthetic has looked to punish junglers. We even saw him almost dismantle Scoot in the game he played Kindred. We could see another situation where that occurs here. And Vipers, their form has not been consistent. We've seen great games for them where they've looked like our top team in the league, and we've seen games where it hasn't been convincing. They need that here if they want to retain that first place spot, because if they lose this one, then they're relying on Singularity losing as well, which you don't want to hope for. And getting that first place seed, it secures you playing against a 4th place team. And with how closely matched these subsequent teams are in playoffs, going against a 4th place team is essentially going to be the one who's looking weakest at the moment, because they've lost out in the last few weeks. And since there is definitely going to be a tiebreaker, you're likely playing against a team who has lost a tiebreaker.
Yep, right. Well, we're now loading in to the picks and bans here. There's Zoe being taken away from Nordavind. Where are we going to see the focus go down? Do you think the likes of Demvoxny and Chrisberg are going to get hard pinched here? We're seeing Demvoxny quite happy to play the likes of the Varus, the Ezreal as well. So you know that he doesn't have to play this Aphelios, this Senna, or this Misfortune. Well, Chrisberg so far has really put a lot of priority on the likes of the Aphelios. We've seen him perform well off when he started moving away from these immobile AD carries, but it is potentially there as an option. If he can take that Aphelios, he happily will.
Yeah, interesting to see the Lucian banned away. So we did see Crispy playing a lot of that for the aggression, but a strange one to be banned away right now, because he has leaned back towards those backline that he carries like the Aphelios, which he will prioritize. Senna could well be a ban away from Vipers, as obviously it is prioritized heavily on the blue side, especially Nordavind were doing that earlier in the split when it was the farming Senna, not the fasting Senna we see now. Skarner banned away from Hidden. We often see the jungler for Vipers targeted heavily in the jungle bans, just to kind of mitigate him, move him off of comfort. But actually, Vipers just going full in on this bot lane. Bit of an interesting one. I still feel like there's a lot of champions that Crispig and Adrian can play, but they're banning aggression right now. And we've seen DreamHack play a lot of Ezreal. This could potentially lead to something like the Ezreal Yumi pickup later on.
Well, there's the Aphelios ban. I was wondering if we were going to see a Syndra pop through. Do Nordavind want to first pick it? I feel like Vipers probably want to ban the Syndra now.
I mean, there's Syndra, there's Senna, there's Ornn. You know, there's a lot of picks to be banned. At this point, maybe just don't ban any of those priority picks, because Nordavind are definitely getting one. Okay, if there's one you don't want them to get, sure, ban it away. Maybe it's the Senna. But if you're happy with giving them one, you can potentially trade off and get two. So we'll see what happens here. They ban away the Kindred. So I like this with how their first two bans have gone. It denies a target ban from Aesthetic. And now Nordavind have a choice. They can only take one of these power picks. If it ends up being that Ornn, Vipers can answer with, for example, Senna Syndra in this rotation to be pretty strong. But they have a lot of options in this situation.
The question to me is, does DreamHack want to play the Senna? It doesn't feel like a champion he wants to play. So maybe Nordavind kind of reading this, expecting... Maybe Vipers expected Crispig to want to take the Senna, and then they get the Ornn and the Syndra.
I think as well with Ornn being picked up, those picks, although they're great, it limits the effectiveness of them, because Syndra's a mobile, Senna's a mobile as well, Ornn definitely threatening, and also Senna's not the best at cutting through tanks by any means whatsoever. So power picks the way they be, you got to think about where that leads your composition. So going to go for the set for likely Lundorf, can still be flexed later on. And we'll see what else Vipers want to pick up there. It could just be the Senna here. If they want to, they could even go Senna set in the bot lane. We've seen played quite a bit internationally.
Well, they are running it down a little bit on the timer here. That's going to be a old but gold pickup here as they quickly swing back off that 0 second, but definitely lasts for like 3 seconds, and they go for the Misfortune.
Yeah, Kai'Sa got buffs on this patch, but still not really up there in terms of priority. Misfortune, sort of quite high tier, but we are seeing the Senna usually banned away as a higher priority compared to the Misfortune. A lot of AoE power already in the team fights from Vipers, and now Nordavind, in all honesty, you can just go for the Syndra, possibly even the Senna as well, if you wanted to. Although we have known that Crispig will go on things like the Varus if he needs be in the situation. Good laning power, good trading into the Misfortune, also that ultimate to set up engages. It would give their team a lot of lockdown already. Actually potentially going towards that Jarvan instead, so denying that away from Hidden as something that works well in tandem with the Misfortune, and also it's something that can punish the lack of mobility afforded to that AD carry. Especially with Thresh off the table, you don't have that Lantern safety net to get you out of the Cataclysm. Vipers here, they can go for a mid lane answer, they can go for a jungle answer, they have a lot of directions, but ultimately there's going to be something that goes unmatched. And we'll see what Paulson or otherwise wants to offer. So they're going to go for the counter onto...
Oh, there it is. I was wondering if we were going to see this Nunu. Yesterday, they left it open. It got banned away in the second ban phase. And then Hidden was kind of forced off something comfortable and wasn't really able to perform too well. This time, he's on the Nunu. It's a pick we know he performs on.
I would have liked the Echo in all honesty because it's a flex. Flex is between mid-jungle. It's good into the Syndra. And it means that essentially Nordavind potentially could be throwing bans into the wind. If they heavily ban the junglers from Hidden, you can throw that Echo there. But I do feel like Hidden maybe not the most comfortable on the Echo is the reason they didn't go for it in that situation. Now we see Rakan banned away from Nordavind. This denies the Zyra Rakan pickup on the same rotation that could come through. And now we look towards Nordavind. I have a lot of options here. The Echo, no surprise, is going to ban that one away. Would have been a strong pick in this situation.
What do you think Sloth's going to got? What has he got left even coming into this? Obviously, you're playing into Nita on the Syndra as a powerful pick. What's open for
Paulson, you said Sloth.
Sorry,
yeah,
Nita. Yeah, honestly.
LeBlanc's still available and an option which can do good into the Syndra. You could potentially play a Maze that just outranges it. You know, Paulson's been quite keen on the Corki, which he's been happy with so far. There are various options. They're going to ban away the Ezreal from Crispig. That leaves the Senna open to sort of fly through this entire rotation, which is a little bit interesting. Just not feeling threatened by it, I guess. I mean, maybe because of the beefy frontline Vipers has, they're not too concerned about a low DPS AD carry. But you can't always pair it up with a champion to boost that. We've seen Senna paired up with Rumble, which obviously is good at shredding through tanks when you have that Liandry's available. Nordavind, still pending their second ban. Going to go for the Braum. So when they saw the Rakan ban, maybe indicating that a Braum was going to be picked up. A lot of skirmishing power from that. And also does well into the Ornn for denying away that ultimate, being able to block that one out. Now, the crazy thing is, would we see a Yasuo come through from Paulson? Just deny it anyway. Don't think it's super likely, but you know, I'm always going to play with the possibility. For now, though, hovering with the support pick, I'm going to lock that win. And we haven't really talked too much. It is always a potential to be flexed for that Syndra. It's not something I typically expect from Nordavind or Crispig in particular, but there's still that threat looming.
With a fresh ban away as well, it's one of those things you see often paired up in the bot lane for the Syndra, so kind of really limiting now, but there's a MF and a Nautilus. They're kind of forcing the hand that Nita probably will take this Syndra into the mid lane. Like you said, it's also not really something that you see Chris Bird pick up all that much. Now, they're looking towards their bot lane. They're going to get their hands on to the Leona here as a pickup for Nordavind, and now they're looking for their AD carry, and could just be that Senna, but won't be the fasting Senna unless you're really wanting to funnel some gold onto a Leona.
I mean, I feel like if you don't play fasting Senna in this current meta, you're just trolling. So even if you pick a Leona, you're going to have to give it the extra gold. Similar to a Tom Kench, she just becomes tanky. But in this situation, they're going to go for the Varus, which is what we typically expect from Chris Brigg. A lot of engaged potential post 6, a lot of opportunity to punish your mobile carries. But now Vipers need to round out their composition. They are lacking AP damage, so I feel like that Yasuo possibly not in the cards, but Diana has something available that he does like to play. Ziggs, an option, not typically what we'd expect from Paulson, but it works. It outranges the Syndra, it scales very well, it punishes a mobile carries and has disengage. Question is, can they get him to that stage?
Question for me is, who's going to be dealing with the front line here? Does the Misfortune have the damage to cut through Wazer on this Ornn or
Ziggs?
Ziggs, okay. Ziggs late game. Once he's got the Leanders and the Void Staff, he's
he does an insane amount of damage. You have mixed damage as well. Misfortune's sustained damage is decent because of the press the attack and the attack speed you have on your W. Obviously, if you're channeling an ult into tanks as well, that's pretty good. And it's not like Lundorf isn't able to shred through them as well. But ultimately, if you find an opportunity to punish a backline, that's going to be the critical thing. Both these teams have strong backline, but also a lot of threat onto the opposing backline, and it could come down to execution in that regard. If you're moving forward, if you're finding those key opportunities to punish, and you can sort of compare, like, you know, if Chris Brigg manages to land a Chains of Corruption onto, say, Paulson, sure, Nordavind are going to look good, but the turnaround is if Denvox Day manages a great bullet time that hits Chris Brigg, there's the counterpoint. So I feel like these teams have come out of this draft pretty evenly in most regards. I will say that the Ziggs outskills the Syndra, and the Misfortune is better late game than the Varus. But I feel like the front line for Nordavind does scale better because they have the Ornn who can hand out those items. Jarvan, I think it's arguable whether he scales better than Nunu, but I definitely think he has a lot of strength with the Cataclysm, especially when you go the tankier later. Ultimately, it's a close one. I think both teams have sort of had ideas for this draft, and it's going to largely come down to execution, who can find success in the lanes. And it's what we'd expect. Second last game of the split, super high stakes. Vipers fighting to keep first place. Nordavind trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. If they lose this one, they are fully dependent on next game being lost by Dusty to keep any chance of playoffs. So preferably they take the win here.
It's going to be really, really rough here for both of these teams. I'm just so excited to get into this game, man. Like, there's exciting team comps, there's big stakes here, and the Nordic Championship has delivered for this entire split, and we are delivering right up until the final game of the regular split. We got our first best team versus a team trying to keep their hopes alive here in the playoffs. Well, to make their way to the playoffs, which should be on this weekend. Oh boy. You ready, Hooks?
I'm ready. Hyped. Love to see some more Ziggs gameplay. Always happy that one. And we have a love. The big thing I would say with Ziggs is that some of the skill shots are harder to hit. Obviously, in a clumped up team fight, it's easy to hit frontline, but it's not always a sort of a guaranteed thing to hit the enemy backline, particularly with your bouncing bombs. So having lockdown from your team is critical, and there's a lot afforded to this Vipers lineup. You have the CC from Lundorf, you have potentially the ultimate from Bebop Bully, and all they need to do is lock someone in place like Nitro and Chris Brigg, throw that Mega Inferno bomb, and that can be enough to push them out the fight in their entirety.
Well, we have taken to the Rift. It's Nordavind versus Vipers. It's first place on the line versus any hope of making it to playoffs. Hidden, who has been kind of subpar for the last few weeks, has now got his hands on to his signature Nunu pick. Denvox knee, he's been putting the games on his back quite a lot in the last few games on a power pick of the MF.
Laner phase heavily going to dictate this one. If any team pulls ahead, it can do a lot for their momentum. As I said, Viper's got great scaling carries, but the Ornn items, the 2-item spike in particular for Nordavind, going to be critical when you're hitting those big spikes. So Syndra spikes very heavily on levels. At level 9, your Q is max, you get bonus damage to champions. 11, you get 2 points in your ultimate. 13, you max your second ability, either the W for the extra true damage or the Scat of the Week for the extra width. So you can obviously provide that to do more CC, more disengaging fights. And you have the 2-item spike from Varus is the big one everyone plays around. At those points when Ornn starts handing out items, that's where I'm critically looking at. Hidden's actually going to find this. And Aesthetic, I don't think you win a smite fight with a Nunu.
No, you're not going to win that, although he's going to attempt it. Advian's making his way up as well here. Hidden actually just going to get turned back onto here. Uses the Q to heal up from Aesthetic. Has got Bebop and Den closing in. Poulsen also making his way forward. So they're looking for everything. They do dodge out on a lot, though. He flashes the wall. Bebop looks for the hook, lands it onto Advian in return here. And now Advian, he's the one taking some serious damage in response. Vipers will hold their blue buff and also force a lot of health bars to kind of get peeled down a little bit there, and the flash from Aesthetic.
That's a critical thing. Flash from Jarvan, a big ganking tool. We often see them layer at the flag and drag to reposition the knock-up. So that being down is a bit of a hit towards that jungler. He also doesn't get rewarded for his invade and delayed a lot of time because he has to walk over to his blue a long distance. So giving Hidden quite a bit of an advantage. And critically with the wave position bot, I feel like Vipers kind of okay. They have a massive wave built up, so they haven't missed too much from that, despite the fact that they didn't have priority moving over. They're okay. Poulsen did fall behind a little bit in the mid lane, because obviously he moved far quicker than Nita did, but ultimately does favor Vipers overall. And now Hidden looking towards the bot lane.
Bringing up the biggest snowball ever. Bebop flashes forward. Crispberg gets exhausted. The flash is used. And now it's on to the support. Advian's just going to peel away, keep his AD carry alive. But that is going to be first blood on to Hidden. Poulsen goes low in the mid lane, as he will hold his life, though.
Yeah, actually a failed flash coming out there from Advian at the end. Was trying to get close enough to flash over that wall. And Nunu, the gank paths are so good because you get that movement speed and you can roll up the snowball. Very hard to avoid a gank in bot lane that comes in when you're shoved up. And the punish is there. He's able to give, I mean, he takes the kill himself, but he relieves some pressure from Viper's bot lane. And actually, I think they're looking to freeze the wave here.
They're looking for a gank in the mid lane, though. Already jumping on. The Aesthetic actually gets turned around to Poulsen. Just finds the solo kill. 1 versus 2.
Bit of an oopsie daisy. Nice flash from Poulsen. And this is the big talking point. We said Aesthetic without his flash can't follow up with the flag and drag. Poulsen flashes to avoid. He can't keep up with it, and now Poulsen's been handed a blue buff and a solo kill. This is extremely bad for Nordavind.
And the 2 players who kind of underperformed yesterday versus Team Singularity have stepped up already, got themselves 2 kills. Lundorf, though, he's getting a bit of bullied around here by Wazor. Look at a lot of damage off of that Bellows Breath as Hidden actually looks to get caught out by Nita, just throwing out some snowballs.
He already got the big one, but we'll leave the others. Aesthetic down in levels now.
Oh, Advian's actually on to Den. Den has to flash away and use the cleanse. Held that quite a long time, and now Snowball's coming in from Hidden. He's going to look to see if he can find something onto Advian. They do get the knockup. That's a lot of damage, actually.
Flashless.
Almost gets the root off. Can't quite find the damage. Den's not close enough, and he is flashless, so they force Advian away. Solid stuff there. Solid turnaround from Hidden here on the Nunu.
But a good engage from Advian. Ultimately, to punish the 2v2 and apply. Actually, they could just go for... No,
they're reset.
Yeah, not playing it safe, don't want to overstay. But ultimately, Advian doing a good job to look to punish in the 2v2. Burns both summoners from Den Voxney. In a situation where really you shouldn't. You were down on summoners for the most part. You shouldn't really have been in a position where that's able to happen. And just a mistake from Den Voxney, overstepping. And the Leona, a lot of damage. When the AD carry can hit as well and proc your passive consistently, you're able to trade so favorably. And Nautilus will struggle to respond when there's a minion wave. That was the critical thing there. He can't do much other than wade into the minions or to attack the Leona, but all it is a root. It doesn't stop her damage. Now, though, with the priority afforded to Nordavind, they're going to try and look for Poulsen.
Yeah, Poulsen is going to get scattered, get flashed onto, and he will fall. Throws out the Mega Inferno Bomb, doesn't even hit the window. Lundorf just gets a solo kill. Well, gets solo kill by Wazor here.
He's really struggling in this matchup against the Ornn, and this is post-nerf. Ornn got his passive, the brittle proc damage, nerfed quite a bit. And Set did get nerfed as well, in fairness, but still, Lundorf getting punished. He's now 2 levels down with no real outside influence.
This level 1 blue buff has actually survived for so long. It's been passed around hands to hands so quick much.
And it technically wasn't a level 1 blue buff.
Sorry, the first blue buff.
That's better.
On the game. On the game? On the map? First blue buff in... The first blue side blue buff.
There we go.
Words are hard right now.
But yeah, top lane's just getting smashed. without any outside influence. And that's really concerning for Vipers, because you don't want to be dealing with a super fed Ornn later in the game, and Lundorf is pretty item reliant to be relevant. Obviously, he still has the CC, but you need to be able to survive to make use of your grit stack up on that Haymaker. For now, though, Dragon being started up by this Nunu, obviously great prioritizing those early objectives, but a response comes in from Nordavind, and they quickly back away.
Yeah, the wave was getting shoved in the mid lane, though, so Niza has to quickly go back and catch that. As Paulson, he's going to make his way over. The team don't have the vision control really on the river to be able to do this. The Scuttle Crab being down is pretty bad for them. Lundorf now is going to be able to catch a wave, but he's 20 CS down at 7 minutes here to Wazel. Wazel's got the wave pushing into him as well.
You can see the item discrepancy as well. Bramble Vest and the Bami Cinder into, I mean, essentially the pickup is a Doran's Blade and a Ruby Crystal. That's a massive discrepancy right now. The kill coming in clutch as well, so really making things difficult for Vipers, but they will manage to be able to get this first dragon thanks to Hidden.
Crispy actually does just take the hook here. A lot of damage going to land onto him. They're slowing him up when they make it rain, and that's going to be the Cloud Drake picked up for Vipers. Now, Den and Bebop need to be a little careful. He's going to look for the slow. The Mega Inferno bomb comes down, and Advian gets the kill onto the Vipers support.
Good roam down there from Nitro to punish. It was an overstep by Dimvox and Bebop Bully. The critical takeaway there is, although it looked nice to punish the Varus, your jungler is on Dragon. You are not afforded assistance at that point, and so you have to expect that response could come in your lane. They end up losing a life and giving over another kill to Nordavind, and it gives an opportunity for Aesthetic just to take this Herald on the top side of the map.
The Herald probably will spell the end of a tower top lane, potentially, unless they decide to lane swap here for the side of Nordavind.
Well, Hidden's moving over, potentially covering this situation. Aesthetic isn't really interested in the top lane. Lane swap already come in to sort of establish pressure on the opposite side of the map. They know Dimvoxnate is nowhere near. He's on low mana, and he's just resetting now after hitting the wave. Didn't actually shove it in all the way. And Lundorf could end up going down in this situation. It's 4 against 2 if Hidden shows his face.
Yeah, Solar Flare's not available to Advian quite yet, but the Call of the Forge God's been thrown down. Hidden's coming in. He's got the absolute zero. That's going to be the showstopper. Hidden's actually caught out, and that is just a massive ultimate. Bebop's making his way forward. Looks for the hook. Does land it onto one. Teleport's not being used, and it's 2 versus 4 here. They're getting that damage down, though, as Nita also closing up. The tower will hold for the moment, but they still have that Rift Herald to work with. A fantastic Cataclysm by Aesthetic stops Hidden from being able to interrupt anything there. They get an easy kill onto the set.
Beautiful play to stop the Nunu from getting in on the tower and helping. They managed to get the kill. The tower's not going to go to...
they still have that absolute zero. Wazel's going to die. The tower will live. Hook goes a little bit wide as Paulson. He has a satchel, so even with the stunning ability,
I think Wazel tunnel visioned a little bit too hard on that tower. Gets punished for it and hands over a kill. Ultimately, the tower does survive, but very low, and the plate's traded over. Nordavind pulling ahead in this game, 1,800 gold. Super important for them if they want to make it in the playoffs. And with how they performed recently against our top 2 teams, right now, with a lead over Vipers, beating Singularity in their last matchup, it's worrying for Vipers if this team makes it in the playoffs. If Vipers beats them here, Nordavind may not make it to playoffs, and it could eliminate one of their bigger threats.
Remember, our top 2 teams are the ones that make it to the European Masters as well. So, you want to make it to the finals. You want to make it to the finals is the only way. So the winner goes for it. I'm actually not 100% sure on how EU-Masters is laid out at the moment.
What do you mean?
You get 2 teams here. Yes, there's still groups and
one group of play-ins.
Yeah, one group of play-ins. Okay, it is what we had last season then. Now, Paulson, once he's got that Luden's Echo, this is one of the kind of big things you talk about on the Ziggs. It's a bit of a Ziggs connoisseur yourself.
Yeah, so I do love that Ziggs. It's just, it means your bouncing bombs just one hit the caster minions. You can still do that without Ludens if you're ahead of the curve in terms of damage, but it basically means your shoving power is extremely strong, and your burst is actually remarkably good. Luden's a great champion great item for sort of burst poke champions.
Yeah. Paulson still a little bit of a ways off finishing that up as the Drake spawns up in 1 minute. We saw first Terror Blood fall down over in the top side, and Wazel got like 650 gold, I think, for that. So he just invests instantly into that Sunfire Cape. And obviously, this is the nerfs. It's level 13 when you start to upgrade your items, but Lundorf literally rocking a Phage into a Bramble Vest and a Sunfire Cape.
Yeah, pretty big discrepancy. And it's just never really going to get better. You just lose these trades from here on out.
He's 2 levels down. Look at this damage Wazel's doing to him.
Set not really working well here. And he did get nerfed on this patch, but so did Ornn. Set, it was mostly like your health regen, your base armor, which really isn't massively coming into play here. This is just Wazel doing Wazel things on the tanks.
Sveti, oh my god.
What is this?
They're just kissing here. As Fedix been caught out, Bebop's going to go golden. Hidden gets caught out, throws out the absolute zero. Look at the damage, but Niter flashes over the wall. The unleashed powers onto him. The Mega Inferno Bomb once again finds no one, but the bouncing bomb might be enough. That's one already picked up. Wazel gets a solo kill in the top lane, but it's a double kill for Hidden. Paulson tidies up another one. And this should just be dragging over to the side of Vipers, but this top lane is bleeding out so fast and so hard right now.
And that's the thing, Viper's winning on the bot side of the map in that skirmish, but top lane is just losing on its own. Lundorf is struggling, and you should not be solo dying against an Ornn. You picked the set as a counter. You wanted this answer, and you just get decimated.
Chrisberg has no mana. He's going to get knocked up by the big old snowball, but Hidden doesn't want to really overcommit here. Now we are 2 off of the Ocean Soul, which, if Lundorf can get it, may help him a little bit here versus Wazel, but it's feeling a little doomed right now for him. He's getting kind of bullied around by Wazel.
I would actually, at this point, just leave the Phage as it is. Just build tank. Just build some magic resist.
Yeah.
Sure, you'd like to be able to go damage on the set, but at this point, you're not going to win trades with Wazel. It's never happening. Just be bulky enough to not get solo killed again and also be relevant in the team play. Definitely a rough game for Lundorf. And Lundorf's had some massive performances so far this split. The gangplank against Dusty was critical, but here, he's struggling. He's struggling by all means. Wazel looking strong on this Ornn.
And this was first pickable. This was what they first picked here.
It was counter pick as well. They knew the Ornn was coming. They went into this and went, yeah, this is fine. But Wazel...
And it's crazy because the gangplank was open. They could have gone for something like the gangplank, which also gives them some scaling options, some good wave clear.
Yeah.
Instead, he opted into the set. And now he's left with regret.
Critically as well, given a lead over to Wazel. Wazel's now the highest level on Nordavind. And remember, they did push it back on this patch from 10.5, which is the current live patch. So Ornn upgrades now at level 13. And then you start handing them out at 14 onwards. So the higher level Wazel gets sooner by getting that lead in the top lane means they'll be able to give out item upgrades.
Oh, this might be a rough fight. That's going to be the knockout. The Mega Inferno Bomb is huge. Absolute zero freezes everyone in place. And that is the end of the mid lane. An easy kill picked up for Paulson there.
Great use of the combo. Paulson on that Luden spikes, doing a lot of burst damage. They find the ult on a Niter with the CC to set them in place. And that's how team fights ideally should go for Vipers. You pin down the backliners, Niter and Chrisberg, and then you throw down the damage from Paulson and Devoxnay to follow up. And it was just beautifully executed. Despite the fact there were 3 members of Nordavind there, wasn't enough. And yeah, that's the Ludens.
Lundorf is going to get a lot of this plate, but he's going to take a lot of damage from Wazel. Wazel just going to run him down. Lundorf now is able to kind of slow down and kind of catch up on that CS deficit, but this should just be the Rift Herald over to the side of Vipers. A fantastic pick onto Niter. He's only just taken back to the lane, and with everyone here for the side of Vipers, they're going to get their hands onto this Rift Herald, and they should be able to try and crack open the mid lane for themselves here. But it looks like there is a bit of a return here from Nordavind. They're bringing up their top laner. They've got that Call of the Forge God. Lundorf does have teleport, but already the Herald's picked up, and Hidden's the one to get it. He may just flash the wall, gets jumped onto, Solar Flare, and actually with a Mega bullet time! What a turnaround! Vipers go 1 for 1.
I mean, yeah, it looked like Hidden was going to look to try and flash you over the wall, but they commit onto him, and they end up turning it around with the ults. Now, it's still good to get that kill on Hidden because it was a shutdown, but the trade-off is Lundorf gets some alone time bot lane, gets the tower, and they still got the Herald in that situation. We're going to get a chance to look at the gold numbers. So Paulson ahead, Hidden ahead, Devoxnay a little bit behind, but it's top lane. Wazel 1,300 gold lead on Swan. Now hit level 12, so does not yet get his own Orn items. Needs another level for the ornaments to start coming in, and then 14 to start handing them out. And that's the point where I really think Nordavind are going to have huge spikes. When they hit level 15, when Crispberg's on 2 items, when he starts handing out Orn items to the carries, that's when Nordavind can look to take control of this game. But they wait any later, I'm concerned about how they're going to do into this Ziggs, who scales so well. There's this Fortune, who does outpace the Varus later in the game. And also, I mean, Lundorf, he has a massive goal discrepancy right now. It's not that Orn falls off by any means at all, but it's just that the goal discrepancy will be less relevant later on, and the lead between him and Wazor not going to hurt as much.
Yeah, but he will start handing out those upgrades to kind of give him a little bit of a boost in this mid-game.
That's the point. That's just sort of level 15. Nordavind looking great. Past that, if you don't keep a good pace, Vipers can start to pull it back. For now, though, not going to set up around this dragon. They want to contest the one that would put Vipers on Soul Point.
And we just saw how much damage Vipers were able to do when you're grouped up in a pit. You got the damage coming in from the bullet time, the Mega Inferno Bomb, just equal. It's just a like shooting fish in a barrel is the only way you can really describe this comp here for Vipers. And a play that went wrong purely went right because they were in that barrel for them to get those shots off. Poulsen does have that Mega Inferno Bomb if he wants to really hold this lane,
wants to save it for the fight. Nordavind just going to try to go for the tower. The wave clear should be here. But now Vipers were able to push in, get some control, but they've been engaged on.
Den's flashed away, trying to dodge away from that Call of the Forge God. He's able to get some space here as the Svetic is closing in. He's got that Blast Cone available, and Bebop's going to look to close in. Den's buying some space for the team here. The Snowball does get a light knock up. In comes the Mega Inferno Bomb. The Wombo combo's big, and Svetic goes golden in the face of Den Voxney as he is going to get himself an easy kill. Lundorf will fall to Crispberg as Poulsen is zoning and poking on the side. The bomb is big. Hidden flashes forward and gobbles him up. Now they've got them in the pit. Now they've got them where they want them. This is just an easy tidy up for Vipers and a dragon to boot.
Critical thing was Den Voxney was able to avoid being locked up. Got a beautiful ult back towards the rest of the team, and Poulsen was untouched for that fight. We talked about the win conditions for these teams. You want your backline able to pump out damage. Nordavind went for the engage, but it meant they were corralled into the center, and Vipers were able to, as you said, shoot fish in a barrel. Now they're throwing the Herald down mid, but with Poulsen, this is just already gone.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit of a waste of the Herald there, to be honest. He could have used that to try and crack something else open, but for now, they are going to get the charge off. Knight is not going to be able to clear that one out in time. Charge comes down, and that will be the end of that tower. Well, not the end of it, but it'll be low enough for Poulsen soon should be able to finish it up. The gold's being spent here as well as they've gone to base. You can see the gold leads over to the side of Vipers where it's starting to spread out, starting to get a bit of a catch-up here for Lundorf. But let's look at what that's converting into, the items that are there. Hidden still has $2 grand in his pocket to spend, but we'll see what he's picked up here because that's the key thing is the items that this gold lead is translating into. Den Voxney, Essence Reaver in his pocket. And I'm assuming he has the Infinity Edge now. No, he's almost there.
Void Staff already coming in for Poulsen to shred through these tanks before they pick up magic resistance. Den Voxney, goodbye.
Den's accepted his fate now. He's dead. That's a big shutdown, actually. And it's going to be gifted to Crispberg.
I think you assume you're safe in that position with people bully there, but the ward coverage really wasn't in a position where you can step that far up. If he'd call that wave closer to the tower, it'd be safe, but you give over the kill, and now it looks like they're just going to start Baron.
Yeah, they are going to go for this. Lundorf doesn't have his teleport, and he's quite a long way away as Poulsen trying to buy some space. The Baron is going to be a little bit slow, and it looks like they don't even know this is going on because they're two-manning it.
Hidden's nowhere near. They must suspect this at this point. They throw the ult down to check. Aesthetic is chunked out. This may be enough to force them off.
Yeah, they got the snowball charging up here, and it looks like Hidden's trying to get in. Looks like they're just going to send him packing here for the moment. The Call of the Forge God opened into the bounce houses. Crispberg shuts down Lundorf before he can even get the slam off. Sure, Baron isn't picked up, but they do find themselves 2 kills. So Vipers, they were pulling it back. And they're starting to hand it back a little bit as well.
Yeah, it was rough. Overall, Den Voxney getting caught out when really he shouldn't be. Lundorf trying to overstep to contest his Baron. Now 0-5-1. Has finished that Triforce, but as I said, you're not doing damage at the moment. I really think that item was pretty greedy.
If he goes Black Cleaver, which is typically what we also see on the set, that's super greedy if he goes for that. The 40% CDR build, but we'll see what he decides to go for. I assume he's going to look to go tankier. He's got the New Magic Mantle. No, that's the negative cloak. Sorry, I had a complete brain fart there.
Possibly going to Stone Plate here, so he can still be tanking team fights to avoid the burst. But ultimately, he's not going to be as useful as Zeon. Wazo now level 14, so able to hand out an item to his teammate. Chrisberg has the Blade of the Wind King to upgrade, and he should be recalling here to upgrade his Abyssal Mask, and that will, auto-upgrade. So Nordavind, this is the point. This is the point where they are super strong around their spikes. 2 minutes on that Ocean Soul, Baron up and available. This is when they should look to force, because I feel like if they wait any longer, that Ziggs is going to get scarier. The Voxnays as well. This is where you want to start taking these fights. And it looked like Wazo was going to walk up to give the item to Chrisberg, but instead they're looking for Lundorf again.
Yeah, Lundorf, he has no flash. Svedig has seen him. He pops him out on the ward. It's 1 minute 30 until this Ocean Soul spawns up, and this could make it really hard for Nordavind to try and get that consistent burst damage out with the sustain that will be available to Nordavind. Infinity Edge not finished up for Dem Voxney yet, which would be really nice for him to have 2 items for the next fight.
And the factor as well as the mana regeneration for Ziggs makes his wave clear essentially unbeatable. Chrisberg now potentially caught out.
Yeah, he's being chased down by the snowball. They're going to throw out the chains and look to turn it around onto Hidden. Now they use everything onto him. He's going to hit like the bullet time into the absolute zero. A great interrupt already, though. The health bars are starting to go a little bit low. They look for the knock up onto the backline. Den buying some space. Now that's going to be the ultimate thrown back out. And in comes the showstopper by Lundorf. Gets a big old haymaker off. Asphetic's caught underneath the tower, but he flashes away. Den's trying to chase him down. Gets the squares off. Asphetic's being run down as Poulsen is low. He does get one with the minefield, though. Wazel finds the knock up. Den gets the kill. Poulsen flashes away. He's running towards safety, but a sniper from Chrisberg will secure him the kill. A massive team fight win there for Nordavind.
And just an overstep from Hidden. All Chrisberg has to do is press R, and you're no longer able to run with that snowball. It was a super ambitious play. It fails, and you're going to lose mid-tower for it. Wazel hands over the item upgrade to Chrisberg, and these are the item spikes we were talking about. Chrisberg 8, 1, and 2 now, super strong. Dragon respawning in 15. Looks like they're toying over whether they should reset before it spawns. Hidden's already here, so this could just be solved for Vipers. They don't have a jungle to contest this one.
Yeah, Wazel, half health as well here. Den's lower mana, crucially, hasn't been to base since that last fight.
You need it. I mean, Aesthetic's running over. You missed your opportunity just to force.
Teleport's coming in from Poulsen, so he's looking to force. He still has that Mega Inferno Bomb. The pits are still scary. Then Voxney has his bullet time, and Dragon spawning up Vipers. Do they want to concede this, or do they want to go for Soul as early as possible? Chrisberg's starting it up. That's going to be the snowball getting thrown out here. Gets interrupted by the pillar placed down by the Ornn, but in comes Bebop Bully. In comes the showstopper. The bomb is massive. Into the haymaker. That's the shutdown they needed. They're on the minefield, and Wazor and Niter being zoned away. Den is just doing so much work on that sideline, but Lundorf picks up a double kill. This should just be the Baron picked up, the Dragon, sorry, picked up for the side of Vipers. A haymaker by Lundorf. He has just turned it around. This is a man on a mission. The Call of the Forge God into the Unleashed Power, and a shutdown for Niter. But the Dragon has picked up the Soul for the Vipers.
And that's a critical thing. They're heading straight over towards that Baron. I think they can actually go for this one. Actually, no. Poulsen decided to go bot lane instead, so not going to opt into it. They might secure the vision in the area, but the critical thing is they got that Ocean Soul in their pockets. A huge team fight, and Chrisberg, the first one to go down. Poulsen is positioning so well in these team fights, consistently in a place where he cannot be touched, and the damage is just insane. Chrisberg got almost 12,000 gold, wiped off the map almost instantaneously.
And the big thing there is, every time we've seen a Ziggs, we've had an Infernal map. So we try to talk about the choke points, and the ability to kind of like force people through choke points is harder on the Infernal map because parts of the terrain go. This is an ocean map. So you're walking blind through minefields, through satchels. The zone control available to Vipers is so effective with the Nunu and the Nautilus layered in there. This whole team just screams zone control, and Vipers are playing that perfectly right now. Lundorf just saved face so hard by popping off in that fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you're still relevant, still able to put down the CC, the Stone Plate coming in clutch to keep him alive. Not going to go for the play.
That would have been a little greedy.
Yeah, a little ambitious there. Now, Wazor level 15, he's still definitely stronger than Lundorf. He's not looking to trade with him right now.
He hasn't got teleport, crucially, where Lundorf does.
Yeah, Baron potentially on the cards. Now, we still have that strong item spike, where we have the upgrade items starting to come in, for Chrisberg in particular, but I'm getting concerned because the Ocean Soul is just a massive team fight advantage to Vipers, because Hidden and Lundorf and Bebop Bully are going to be so much harder to take down. And if Nordavind don't force a fight here and get this Baron, I worry about where they'll go later in this game. I worry about how strong the Ziggs will become, and Devoxny as well will start to shred. Chrisberg is getting past the point where the Varus is super relevant and peaking.
And also, we keep our eyes on like Paulson. He's got the blue buff currently, but now that he's got the soul, he actually does get that additional mana regen, which is obviously, if you haven't played League in Season 10, the Ocean Drake doesn't give you mana regeneration until you get the soul now. So he actually has some bonus mana to work with. Now, tower goes down in the bot side there.
And this is the cost of the TP disadvantage. Wazor keeps floating up towards mid lane in case something happens. And so when he does that, it gives Lundorf alone time, and it allowed him to take that dragon. Now, Lundorf having the Ocean Soul, as you said, means if the trades do go unfavorably with Wazor, he can back off and heal it up. But he is still very much weaker than him. Level 13 to level 16. Yeah, he is not winning the 1v1. But he doesn't need to at this point. It's about the team fight, and that is really coming down to Paulson.
Lundorf going to throw out that Haymaker here. Wazor does get face breaking in, but he did no damage.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to damage through the Zorn, but Lundorf can just heal up. Thanks to the Ocean Soul, thanks to the passive on the set.
I mean, if Wazor gives him the opportunity to heal up, Lundorf taking so much burst damage here.
Fortunately, Ocean Soul still works on minions, so he's not going to lose too much HP in this scenario overall, and he will be able to regen it back up. Right now, the game's slowed down quite a bit. We had a very fast-paced one, 31 kills in 28 minutes. The pace has sort of dropped. Rabadon's now picked up for Paulson. Stopwatch for him and Demvoxne. They are ready for a team fight right now. That's a huge discrepancy between mid laners. Could be the tipping point. Wazor, he's just going to ignore him.
Yeah, Lundorf's going to try and put the damage in, but he can't sink anything into Wazor. Wazor with a searing charge as well. Getting these brutal procs off. A Haymaker will give a shield and a slight sustain over to the side.
What's 500 true damage compared to a 4,000 HP tank? Not much is the answer.
Clearly. Viper's now posturing over. They still got this Scuttle Crab down, so there is knowledge to work with, but the teleport advantage is about to evaporate. Wazor is about to get his teleport back, and it's going to be big for him. Paulson needs to start landing this poke now.
Level 16, 3 points in the auto. Oh, got to be careful for an engage.
Yeah, does have to be very careful. Solar Flare gets used. Advian flashes forward into the absolute zero. Goes golden for the moment. Chrisberg caught out the teleport to breaking out. Paulson has made his way out, and Demvoxny looking to join up for the team. That's the bomb. This is the damage already coming down, and Vipers are coming up huge. Lundorf throws out the shield. The bullet times onto Chrisberg. It's only going to do a little bit of damage here. Vipers healing back up. They find their 2 kills, and now they can go to Baron.
That's a critical thing. The Ocean Soul means they're able to reset pretty easily and get onto that Baron. Paulson can just play Interrupt and look for the poke. Chrisberg and Nita quite low in the HP. They're going to push mid as a response. Now moving over, they're looking to contest this one, but it's 5v3. I think they have to opt out of it.
Their ult economy is just completely decimated. They don't have a single ultimate they can use. They're going to try and pick a tower up as their like compensation fee here.
But Vipers are looking to collapse.
They are looking to collapse as well. Wazor gets caught out by the hook, rooted in place, slowed down. Here comes the biggest snowball ever being rolled up by Hidden. And Wazor and Chrisberg are going to be on the receiving end. The bomb lands, Chrisberg's chunked, Hidden flashes forward. A scatter of the week onto 2 comes down by Nita. Bebop on that front line, buying some space as Lundorf trying to find his opening. The carries are here, and Wazor's being melted through. The damage onto Nita, secured by Demvoxny, gets in the kill as Lundorf takes out Chrisberg. Wazor will fall as well, and a massive team fight victory into the Baron for Vipers, and the Elder Dragon is spawning up in 35 seconds.
No one is going to be up from the side of Nordavind. They're going to push the waves in, but this could be Elder on top of the Baron. Nordavind miscalculate massively. They thought they can trade off the Baron for that inner tower, and this could cost them the entire game. Not right now, but giving up part of their base and the Elder is critical. Nordavind, they need this win to keep playoffs in their hands. They might have just thrown it away.
Yeah, that's with the satchel. You see how quickly Ziggs is able to take that down. He's got the Death Cap, he's got the Ludens, he's got the Void Staff. The tower in the mid lane will hold, but look at the repositioning. The bases have come through. The gold has been spent. 3.5 items onto Demvoxny, and he is making his way towards that Elder Dragon.
Yeah, and Nitro and Chrisberg are running from base right now. Wazor hasn't even spawned yet. He doesn't have TP.
It's a level 13 Jarvan versus a level 15 Nunu. There is no way you're going to outsmite him here without a miracle, without a massive misplay. Aesthetic, also very squishy, very susceptible to the burst coming down. The Absolute Zero getting channeled here just to kind of send him packing momentarily. But Elder Drake, they have the vision for a little bit. That's going to be secure. And Nordavind have to get sent packing. Vipers are fighting fighting for first right now.
They've got the Elder, they've got the Baron, they're in a great spot right now, and we saw how much damage Paulson was doing with that Mega Inferno Bomb. If he hits on a Crispberg, he might actually be low enough just to instantly die to the burn. He does have a little bit of magic resist picked up with that Wit's End, but really, Nordavind are losing the scaling battle right now. They hit their big point, they lost fights on it, then I was 6,000 gold down up against an Elder, a Baron, an Ocean Soul. It's going to take a miracle for Nordavind to win this one and keep their playoff hopes alive.
Then Voxney is going to be able to take out this turret as well. That's 2 open inhibitors. Mid lane will fall. Lundorf is working a wave up in that bot side of the map. They still got a tier 2 standing in the top side, but with this Elder Drake, Vipers are just so frightening right now.
Absolutely are. It's really hard to take a fight. They might have to just give up both these inhibitors. I don't see winning a fight in this situation unless Vipers really misplay.
Hidden was looking for the knock-up, not going to find it. 2 inhibitors down. The base is going to come down. They're going to spend some gold, but Nordavind are trying to stop the bases momentarily, but it is Baron recalls as in comes the bomb.
Look at Night's HP Crispberg as well. That was with the edge. That was with the edge of the ult.
Look, he's got the base and he's just buying some items as well now. So he's got himself a...
He's just going max AP.
He's literally just going flat AP now.
Could build a Spellbinder.
Thank you.
That one.
701 AP.
Yeah.
He has a pot as well ticking. So Paulson is pretty scary. And he's got 12 seconds until his ult again.
Could go Spellbinder, Void Staff as the last 2 items, which is very much kill the squishies.
But he can't go Void Staff. He's already got one.
True. So potentially building that...
Morello's for flat pen or Leandri's.
Various things. But right now, this is like, I've recalled this much money. What's the most AP I can get? And
he knows this is the final push. There's no point having like some components like your Ethelwisp. He wants as much damage as well.
They don't have the Baron, but they still have this Elder. Paulson's been handed off the blue buff. They're going to start pushing up. Super Minions pushing in mid and bot lane. Nordavind, this is normally when I say you should look for a fight, but against Elder, you don't win. You have to defend.
It's so rough for Nordavind. This is their last chance to remain here in the Nordic Championship, pending on the game after this. But this will be the last time their chances are in their hands here in the regular season. Then Voxney stepping up. Lundorf just walking the minions in the mid lane. Bot side has 2 supers crashing in as well. So Nordavind need to go answer, but I don't know how they can as the satchel's been placed. The Elder by the minions is fairly big. The Elder has timed out, so maybe it's time to do or die. Then Voxney's able to come out. Now that's going to be the call of the Forge God. They're looking for their side lanes. They're looking for the backside. But in comes Bebop. He gets himself the hook out. In goes the bomb from Paulson into the Absolute Zero. Wazor goes golden. Then Voxney's stepping forward, and Wazor is just going to get cut through. Lundorf in the middle of the team is doing absolute miracle work. Finds himself 2. That's going to be the bullet time. And so much damage onto Niter as Paulson takes him down. The turret will fall. The Nexus will explode. And the Vipers take first in the regular season.
Vipers secure their own spot, and also they potentially knock Nordavind out. Nordavind are now hoping that Singularity win the next game if they want to keep their hopes alive. At this point, it is not looking good for them. They needed that win, and ultimately, they had some strong spikes in that game, in the mid-game, but they weren't able to counteract the Ziggs. We talked about heavily how the critical thing was keeping your backline safe. Paulson felt untouchable in that one, and he was able to dish out the damage, and with the great engage from Vipers, there was always someone locked up. It was Crispberg or it was Niter, they were CC'd, you throw the Mega Inferno Bomb, and they're out the fight, if not dead.
It was just a return to grace here for Paulson. After yesterday's game, he went like 0-4, 0-5. He had a really, really rough game in the mid lane. And he just looked so stellar on that Ziggs. And Den Voxney, you know, it's been about him quite a lot of these games, but while he was doing a lot, it really wasn't the Den Voxney show. And that was that flexibility from Vipers where a lot of the players are kind of able to show up. Lundorf had a very rough start, but you got to admit, his later game team fighting was just zoning Crispberg out the fights. And Crispberg, he was fed, but he was irrelevant in the
last fight. He basically 100-0'd Crispberg. He managed to ult him, managed to blow him up, use the Haymaker, and just dish out a ton of damage onto him. All the Vipers were playing well that game. Yes, Lundorf definitely had a rough laning phase, by all means, but he brought it back, and Paulson was the driving force throughout. That guy was insane on Ziggs. Place in my heart on that champion as well. And yeah, Vipers locking in first is the critical thing. Nordavind, their fate still yet to be decided.
Nordavind's fate is very much in the air, and it's dependent on our next game. Team Singularity, they will be out for blood. They've been denied first place, but they want to hold it. They want to knock Dusty out of the tournament, so it's all going to be to play for in the next game. We'll see you after the break.